Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Shoreline right behind me, to the driveway, which is just 50 feet that way. We're just gonna chat it up for a little bit. How you like that? We'll spend about 15, 20 minutes just talking about, and I have a subject: pet peeves. So this is Brett's Soapbox segment. I'd like to make this a regular thing because it seems I have so many. Some of them I'm aware of, and some of them are brought to my attention. So this should be fun. I got a whole bunch of notes here. So let's start at the top. I know you've heard me talk about this on Madam Mayor's channel. Shopping carts. People failing to return shopping carts. Whether you're at Walmart, doesn't matter what store you're at. And, you borrow the store's shopping cart. You push it all around the store, like a half mile, a mile to get your groceries or whatever it is you're buying at Walmart. And then you push it all the way out to your car. You load your car, and then what do? You leave the cart sitting there for someone else, so it blocks another parking space, or someone else has to move it. And you can push the cart a mile for your own convenience, but it's inconvenient for that person to return it to the shopping cart return carousel. So I really don't get that. I think it's just pure laziness. That's just me. That's one of my pet peeves. When I see those and I pull into a shopping area and there's a bunch of carts laying around, I'll usually gather up one or two carts and walk it to the door. I'm walking to the door anyway, so it's not like I'm policing the entire parking lot. I'm just grabbing the one or two that might be on my way to the door. And I think it helps. I think if everybody did that and they park and they pushed a cart that was near their car back to the door, you're going to be getting a cart anyway when you get to the door. Why not just grab that cart and use that cart and push it back while you're walking? It's not out of your way. If everybody did that, we wouldn't have to pay people to carousel the carts. And yes, you, the taxpayer, is paying those employees to get those carts. Yes, it's a job. But they could be doing something else if they weren't pushing carts. They could be checking people out. They could be stocking shelves. They could be sweeping floors. Police your own carts, people. That's a pet peeve of mine. I'm sure it's a pet peeve of other people's because I've seen videos on it. Pretty funny. All right, we're going to move on because I got a long list here. And feel free to drop a line in the comments because this little video can feed other little videos. Like I said, I kind of like to do a pet peeve segment. Like on Fridays, every Friday, kind of do a pet peeve segment. It sounds like a whole bunch of complaining, but I'm not trying to complain here. I'm just trying to have fun with this. Have a little dialogue, kind of do a personal video. I don't think I can do live streams just yet. I'm close to the 500 subscribers, and then I think I can do live streams, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I think videos are better anyway, because if I have a blunder or say something out of turn, I can always erase it and don't have to air it. So you always have that safety net. Not that that happens a lot. The next thing is driving. Now we can go on and on about ruthless, rude drivers. I think my biggest one though is either not failing to signal on a turn, especially when you're running up on somebody and you don't realize that they have slowed down and they're turning. You're thinking they slowed down for the moment and they're getting ready to pick it back up because of traffic in front of them. And a lot of times that's not the case. What they're doing is they're slowing down to make a turn, which to me is like a stop. And they fail to turn and you end up running up on them. Now, is that my fault? Probably. But if they were turning, I would give more consideration to stopping than I would if they're just slowing down for traffic. Another pet peeve of mine, without even looking at my notes, is people that ride their brake. Like tap, 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 tap. It's so ridiculous. You do realize you can slow your vehicle down without hitting your brakes, right? All you do is let off the accelerator. Most cars are automatics. So automatic transmissions will automatically engage the car and slow it down. So the engine is slowing your car without using the brakes. It's a slow down, which in most cases that's all you need. But people that go brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, I don't get it. It's extremely inefficient. You're wasting gas to re-accelerate, and you're wasting brakes. You're wasting rotors. You're just wasting people's time with that crap. slow down just by, and if you're driving in an icy state with a lot of snow and ice, especially up in Alaska where I lived more than 20 years of my life, you don't touch your brakes unless you absolutely have to, and that's like you never touch your brakes. They have so much black ice up there in the wintertime, and just ice. You're literally driving on top of the ice 6 months out of the year. The ice forms on the road. They don't get it all off. They're not trying to get it all off. They're just trying to make what's on top of the ice more tractionable. That can be riding in snow, has more traction than ice. And if you routinely drive in these cold weather states that get precipitation like that, you become accustomed to it, kind of second nature. It does take a couple of weeks to adjust from summer driving to winter driving. Mainly it's people's speeds. You can't take turns like you used to. You got to have long stopping distances, and it's just driving habits that have to be refocused. Usually the first 2 weeks of winter in Alaska, there'd be a bunch of wrecks until people start to slow down and realize, hey, time for winter driving. Gotta pack your patience. So anyway, there's that. Another big one on driving, and I don't want to get too hung up on driving because you can talk half an hour on just driving. People entering an entrance ramp to an interstate. You don't wait until you're on the entrance ramp getting ready to get over into that front lane, that first lane, before you turn your head and look at traffic. As you're coming down the exit, now I should be looking at traffic. Way before you get down to the ramp where it merges. Way before. And realize too that when you're on the interstate, you have the right of way. You do not have to move over to let that person in on a ramp. You don't. That's courtesy. It's nice that you do. You do not have to, and a lot of times you can't. Sometimes you're blocked by a truck or another vehicle and you can't get over. But I've been looked at, mostly in the motorhome. I don't want to have to get over and come back over and all that. Why should I have to move because you failed to accelerate or decelerate according to the flow of traffic? That's something you're supposed to look at well before, way back here, before you get here to merge into the lane. It should be way back here. You're turning your head. Okay, there's traffic. Okay, I got an idea. Okay, I might need to speed up. And speed up. It is an acceleration lane. It's not a braking lane or a yield lane or a stop lane. It's a go from 30 to 60 lane is what it is. You're merging. So you have to get your speed up to the speed of traffic, and that makes getting in a lot easier. Just a tip. I think that's it on traffic. We're going to move on. I don't want to spend too much on that because the traffic thing really gets me ramped up. It does. School zones. Okay, what I want to talk about in school zones. This is not speeding in a school zone. That's the most common. What I have an issue with, kind of, is the school might be on a secondary road. Say you're traveling on this road and the school is on this road or even this road, a secondary road to the primary, right? The school is probably 1,000 feet from the road. Why are we driving 15? Why? The school's way over here. Way over here. If it's an elementary school, I kind of get it. But junior high and high school students, I think they're old enough to look before you cross. And I don't think that should be the driver's responsibility primarily. They have crosswalk zones, and they're supposed to stick to those crosswalk zones. And around the school, almost every corner is a crosswalk. And they always have guards there anyway, and that's a good idea. Visibility is important here. And you shouldn't be speeding. But a high school that is sitting a block off of the main road and you're going 15, I just don't understand that. All you're doing is creating more traffic, creating more tension with drivers. You're creating more, it's just more stress for everybody involved in that block. I know there's a couple of schools here, even here in Tennessee, that you can't even see the school. You can't even see it. It's like on a secondary road, and then there's a third road you have to turn, and the school is up on a hill behind a wooded area where you can see through the trees at this time of year. And you still can't even see the school, but you have to go 15 and a 40. Why? I have never, ever once, in the many times that I've passed through there at 15, seen one student. Not one. I've never even seen school buses there. I don't know if it's a private school or what. but I just don't understand it. Is there any common sense that's employed in these school zones? Because I don't think so. I know we need to be safe. I know we need to be cautious. But my question to you is, are we sometimes being overly cautious? Are we creating a more dangerous or more hazardous situation in other realms, like people's patience and fractionally speeding, like 5 over and a 15, when there's no students there and there never has been students there? I mean, it just seems a little ridiculous. I'm just saying. Now, many of the school zones are right on the primary. They're a high school, they let out, and they got certain hours. I'm not talking about those. Those are fine. It's just for a short period of time. Usually I know here there's cops out there. Like, schools are inundated with police that are patrolling when schools let out. It's a little overly. Like, you might have 3 or 4 squad cars out front of a high school. Can high school kids not cross the road on their own? What do they do when they go home? They have to cross the road on their home. They have to cross the roads in their neighborhood on their own, right? Oh, wait, that's not the school's responsibility then. That's the parents' responsibility. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not being the advocate for or against the student or the policy. I'm just questioning the school zones when the schools are so set off from the main road. I don't get those distant schools. If you can't see the school, I don't think it's a big issue to have a 15 zone. Okay, soapbox again. I'm repeating. Let's move on. Okay, this is one that Therese has commonly said in the past, that she gets frustrated with my OCD. I didn't realize I had OCD. I like efficiency. If I have anything about me that you want to know about me, is I don't like inefficiency. And I'm going to describe some of those inefficiencies. If, let's say you're heating up a pot of beans, okay? Let's say it's just a normal size can of beans, maybe an 8-ounce can of beans, 10-ounce can of beans, and you pour it into a saucepan. What size pan are you going to heat those beans up on the stove in? Are you going to pick a great big pan and you got a little bit of beans to go in it? That to me is inefficiency, because now you got to use the bigger burner. This is just me, so you guys can laugh at me. Drop it in the comments and we'll talk about it, because that's going to be fun. Small can, small pot, small burner, more efficient. That's just me. Now, if you got a big pan or you're doing up something special and it requires the bigger burner, because realize it takes more electricity to heat that bigger burner than it does that smaller burner. So, small can of soup, small can of beans, small pot. Something else I do too, like hot dogs, and you put them in boiling water. Just enough water to boil the hot dogs. Don't go overly, because it takes longer to heat that water up to a boil. Also, if you use a lid, it will boil faster because the heat's not escaping the pot. I think of all of these things when I'm on the stove. Am I being ridiculous? Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I just can't wait. So inefficiency is something for me. Therese used to get on me, or she didn't really get on me. She tells me about it after the fact, which can be annoying in itself. But nonetheless, it makes for good video content like today. In driving the Jeep, it's a 6-speed standard. I drive it in a way that's the most efficient. Like, I coast down the hills when I can if it maintains speed. I know when to drop the gear, when to pick up the gear, and I always use the highest gear to maintain the speed. I don't run the RPMs up around 3,000 RPMs, because unless I'm climbing a hill, that's unnecessary and it's inefficient. But she gets on me a little bit about that. So I just kind of wanted to pitch that out there. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. It's kind of hard to explain. It's raining here, so if it gets louder, I'll get louder. Let's see. Oh, yes. Putting away food. You finished eating and you have some leftovers and you're putting them in containers. Okay, again, you have this much left over. Do you put it in a big bowl? No. You put the amount of food left over in the smallest size bowl that will accommodate it. You don't want all that extra air space inside the bowl. You also don't want to take up all that space inside your refrigerator. All those things lead to inefficiency. My pet peeve, is it OCD? I don't know. You tell me. Drop it in the comments. Can't wait. Oh, here's one. Therese used to get on me about this all the time. This cabin gets dusty, dirty, and a lot of bugs and spiders, like more than regular houses with sheetrock and paint. And it's not sealed, it's not airtight, so a lot of critters and dust get into this house. When she would sweep the dust piles and leave the dust piles around, and I'm walking, I'm not really paying attention to where the dust piles are, and I walk through them. Ooh, don't do that. That would be her pet peeve, and you can ask her about that. Drop your comments in Madam Mayor's Adventure. She'd love to hear from you. I'm sure she'll agree with you. Let's see. Here's another one. Buying houses. Whoop, I touched the camera there. Buying houses or vehicles for people who visit very infrequently. You see this on TV shows where they're buying a house. And, sometimes I like to watch those shows. I like the properties and see what they go for, like beachfront hunting, bargain hunting, and all that kind of stuff. I like watching those kind of shows. And people will, the realtor will say, okay, what are your needs? Well, I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's just me and my husband. But sometimes we have our 2 boys come visit. Okay, so you're talking about 2 people full-time with the possibility of maybe 2 weeks a year, 2 more people visit. So you're going to get a whole extra 2 bedrooms for them? Inefficient. You have to heat that space. You have to buy that space. You have to cool that space. And those people are only visiting a couple times a year. Inefficient, I think. Also, buying a vehicle. Why do you need an 8-passenger vehicle van for the 1 or 2 times you may go to the airport to pick up relatives that are just visiting? I'm not going to buy a vehicle for that. One, you're going to pay more for the vehicle. It's going to get crappy gas mileage. You're going to pay more in your insurance, more on gas for these people that might visit. That's why a lot of people say, oh, I don't understand why you got a Mazda Miata. It's only for 2 people. How many people am I? I'm 1, right? And with Teresa, it was 2 people. If we have people visit, then we can go pick them up from the airport in the Jeep. The Jeep is a 2-seater, the way we have it configured, but there is a bench seat for the back. And we can put it in there and get maybe 3 more people, 2 people in seatbelts, so you can get 4 people in the Jeep. I'm not trying to buy a vehicle to accommodate someone who might visit, who may never visit. And if I was to get 5 or 6 people visit, if that should ever happen, I'll just rent a vehicle for 2 or 3 days. But I'm not going to buy a vehicle for a temporary situation. And I don't think you should buy a house that's oversized for a temporary situation. If you have people visit occasionally, like a kid in college or something that's coming to visit for maybe a week or 2, or a weekend or 2, a year, or maybe Christmas for a few days, or a week, a year, that's not a lot of time. That's maybe 2 weeks in the whole year, right? I'm not getting a whole special bedroom for them. I'll get an air mattress, and I'll set aside a space. Like for this cabin, it's ideal for 2 people. It's not crowded having 3. 4 starts to get crowded, but there's a whole loft area. It's a workout room. It has a TV in it, and it has an extra bed in it. But it's not really a bedroom, but it can be used as a bedroom. So that's how I think. So downstairs there's 2 bedrooms, but one's being used as an office. Now, could I throw an air mattress up in that office space? Absolutely could. I could throw up a cot, could throw up an air mattress. And the weather here in Tennessee is that bad. Like, it doesn't get overly hot that much, and it doesn't get overly cold that much. It has its little periods of time, but for the most part, 80% of the time, it's very comfortable here. Today, it's raining like all day today, but it hasn't rained in a long time, so we actually do need the rain. So, I don't mind a good rain. It's a little chillier than it was yesterday. We got up to 70 degrees yesterday. Today's probably, I didn't check it, it's probably upper 50s, but I'm still out here in a t-shirt and shorts, and it feels a little cool and it's damp, but it's not bad. If I had someone visiting and I had no room in the house for them, I could even throw up an air mattress here on the front porch and sleep on the front porch. I've done it. It's actually fun. You get a sleeping bag, throw it on a cot. It's like you're sleeping outside without sleeping outside. And if you need a bathroom, there's one right here. So I like those things about the cabin. I like the fact that it doesn't have to be overly accommodating and plush and bushy, but it's comfortable, it's efficient. I could sleep 10 people here if I had to. I could put 10 people on this porch. Get all these chairs out of here, set up 10 cots, and you got 10 people sleeping on the porch. And it's covered and it's screened in. So what's the problem? Anyway, that's my pet peeve on people buying houses that are too big and they're buying them for other people that may visit once a year. They're doing the same thing with their cars. And it ain't just the people I'm talking to in this audience. I'm talking about people on the TV that I watch too. And they're like, well, we have our two sons that will sometimes visit in the summer when they're out of college. So you're going to buy an extra bedroom for those two people? Or 2 extra bedrooms for those people? And you're paying for those 2 extra bedrooms all 365 days, not just those 2 weeks that they're visiting. Again, inefficiency. Am I being ridiculous? Do I have OCD? Please drop it in the comments. I want to hear about it. We can dialogue because this is fun. I dropped my paper. Let me grab it real quick. Okay. Oh, what else we got here? Oh, okay. We're going to shift gears. And I don't want to offend anybody. Let me start by saying I can count on one hand. Okay, maybe say 2 hands. Less than 10 times my entire life, outside of buying gas, have I ever shopped at a convenience store. You're going to be like, oh, bull, everybody goes to a convenience store. No, I don't. If I need bread or eggs or milk, I don't go to a convenience store. Do I need a 20-ounce bottle of soda and pay $3 for it at a convenience store? No, it'll go on my list and I'll buy it next time I go to the store. I also consolidate trips. I'm 10 miles from a store, except for Dollar General that's a few miles away, but I won't shop there either. That's a convenience store. It's better than the prices at a 7-Eleven or a Circle K or something, but they're still higher than what a regular store would be. Because the way I shop the commissary first, because they have the best prices on most things. I also next will probably do Publix or Kroger's with their BOGOs or a seriously reduced item. And then other things, if they're not on regular price, I'll just wait. They'll stay on the list until next time I go out. I just won't buy anything at regular price unless it's a have to. What's a have to for me? Maybe coffee creamer. But you know what? Coffee creamer can always go on. You can just get a little different flavor, and I'm okay with that. If I can save $2 or $3 on a bottle of coffee creamer by going with a different brand or a different flavor, I absolutely will. So, I mean, why am I being so cheap? Because some people are going to say, oh, you're cheap. You know what? You can do 2 things. You can continue to work your entire life and buy whatever you want whenever you want, or you can retire early, which I opted to do, retire early, and be thrifty with your money. This way, I don't have to keep working my entire life. I can afford to retire early. And I think that trumps buying whatever, whenever, willy-nilly, because there are a ton of people. I can cite several examples, not by name, but there are people that used to work at the post office, and they can make good money at the post office, but you work your fingers to the bone. Like, it's a hard job. And a certain supervisor I have in my mind, every year she has to have a new car. Every year she has to wear, not every year, but every year she has to get a new phone. She always has to have the latest and greatest. And I'm sure you know people like this. They always have to have a new car every couple years. They have to have a new phone every time one comes out. They have to have designer jeans. They have to have the best shoes. You don't get sales on that stuff. I mean, you might on occasion, then go for it. But if you're paying full price for these things, and every time you trade in a car, you're losing money. I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, if you work at the dealership or not. If you're trading in a car, you are losing money. Sell it yourself, book it, do the work, list it, get it clean and ready to show, just like a showroom would do, and sell it yourself. And then go buy your car, and not at a dealership, a private owner. Have someone inspect it if you need to. Anyway, that's the way I shop. I think if you shop smarter, it may be a slight inconvenience, but you're going to save a ton of money, and it might enable you to retire. So I talked about the convenience store, but I didn't talk about the main thing that drives me to think about a convenience store. People who don't typically have a lot of money, okay? And I'm not against those people at all. I'm just talking about them for a minute because I've been there. Or your budget is tight and you work paycheck to paycheck. And maybe your bills are higher than your paycheck. Okay, I'm not even talking about that. But let's say you find yourself in that situation. Oh man, I need $50. That's really bad. I could really use $50 for whatever reason. So what has happened is you've outsourced or out revenued what you make to your bills, right? So let's say you need that $50 really bad, but you're a smoker and you got to have those cigarettes. Would you not buy cigarettes this week and maybe buy diapers or food instead, or pay off an electric bill, or make that house payment if you're a little bit short and you need $50? Well, I'm going to give up cigarettes this week. Cigarettes to me, now I've never smoked, so maybe I can't speak to it, but I really don't think cigarettes are anything that are good for you. It's not a requirement, it's a want. It's a vice. It's taking a lot of money from you if you're a smoker, and I'm not going to harp on smokers. Hey, spend your money the way you want to spend your money, but I would much rather do without those kinds of things and change my spending habits so that I have extra money to do to buy a tank of gas, or extra money to go to an event or to bowling or to a movie if that's what you like to do. I would rather spend that. To me, cigarettes are really low on the totem pole. And then when people do it, they'll spend their last dollar. Like I've seen them do it. They're like, oh man, all I got is $2 here. What kind of cigarettes can I buy? And normally they buy this brand, but they're too expensive and can't afford it now, so I'm going to buy this cheaper brand. And they'll go in their pockets and they'll spend their last few cents or their last dollars on that pack of cigarettes or that carton of cigarettes or whatever they're buying. But now they have no money for the next few days or whatever to get some essential item, maybe milk or maybe some bread or maybe even bologna or something to eat or a hot dog or something. I mean, you're going to have other stuff happen. Don't push yourself into a corner where now you got to beg, you got to thrift, you got to ask people, you got to borrow money. You don't borrow money or ask to borrow money from someone if you're spending your money on cigarettes. Sorry, big pet peeve of mine. And you know where you always see smokers buying cigarettes? In a convenience store. And how much are they a pack? I have no idea. At least $5-10 a pack for a freaking pack of cigarettes. Are you kidding me? And it's gone in a day or 2 days? I don't get it, people. I just don't get it. To me, I think the cost of cigarettes over the last 10 years would be enough to force me to quit. I'd be like, that's it. I'm not giving any more money to these cigarette companies. I'm not doing it. And half that money's tax. They tax the crap out of them because the federal government uses tax to control your behaviors, your spending behaviors. And, I don't know that they should do that, but they are. And as long as they're providing subsidies for health care, they get a say in your life because they want you to quit smoking so that they're not having to pay your health care bill later. So that's kind of how that works. They provide subsidies, and this is a whole different other topic, but they're providing subsidies for people who need them because they don't take care of their bodies and take care of their health the way they should. And, we're all guilty of that to some degree. But going in a convenience store to buy cigarettes when you don't have a whole lot of money to play with, that just seems really foolish to me. At least if you're going to buy cigarettes, wait till there's a sale. Put it on your grocery list, buy it from a place that's not a convenience store. Because have you ever looked at convenience store prices? Do you pay any attention to how much they charge for stuff? You can get a little 20-ounce bottle of Coke and you're paying $3 or $4 for it. Or maybe they're running a sale and you get, 2 for $3 or something like that. But it's still cheaper in the grocery store. I wait and buy canned sodas when it's $5 for a 12-pack of cans. That's a good price for me. I'm not going to pay $8 for that sleeve of Cokes. I'm not going to do it. I'll just go without Coke. I'll just wait and it'll stay on my list until someone else has it on sale. And that's what I do. And then when it's on sale, I'll stock up on it. Because it's in small cans, it has a long shelf life. It'll last longer. So I'll stock up on those things that I want at a good price. If it never comes up at a good price, then I'll just do without it. It's not a big deal. I don't have to have it. Anyway, so buying items in a convenience store when you can buy them in a cheaper place for a little less convenience. It just takes a little planning. Throw it on your shopping list. I'm sure you have one. They're even digital nowadays. You can clip coupons right online. I mean, you're using your phone for a lot of other stupid stuff on Marketplace, Facebook, and all these other things. You might as well use it to create your shopping list. Shop smarter, not harder. And, here's another one. This is my last one, and then we'll call it because we got 30 minutes running here. Wow, I can get winded on this, huh? Anyway, wearing shoes into people's houses. Overseas, it's a big thing. You take your shoes off at the door before you go into someone's house. It's considered rude. In some cultures, even putting your leg up over your knee like guys will cross their legs and having the bottom of your foot off the ground and showing to people, that's considered rude. A lot of things in overseas cultures are considered rude that we as Americans just take for granted and do whatever we want because we don't consider other people's backgrounds, emotions, cultures. We're pretty inconsiderate people for the most part. Not everybody, but for the most part. And but like on these shows where they're showing houses, how about even estate sales? You have several hundred people walking through a house that's getting ready to be marketed for sale, and they're tracking in the street dirt, the street mud, the gravel. Maybe someone works on highways and they got tar, dog poo. Anything could be on those shoes, and you're just tracking it all through someone else's house. I think that's rude. Now, do you expect everybody to take their shoes off that comes through an estate sale? No. In fact, I haven't seen them do it at all. But I actually think they should. I think they should be considered of the homeowner. And you don't have to take your shoes off if that's so out of the way for you. I wouldn't have a problem with it. If I'm asked to remove my shoes, absolutely, I'll do it. But I think maybe we could be more considerate of people's property. They could provide little booties that you slip over your shoes. You walk the house and then you take the booties off at the door when you leave, and then they can be reused for someone else walking through the house. There's ways you can minimize that dirt traffic and a lot of these houses, it doesn't hurt our house so much to walk on these hardwood or these laminate floors because you're sweeping every 3 days anyway. But carpeted areas, once you get those carpets stained, it's expensive to get them cleaned. And you have 200 or 300 people walking through your house in a day, like at an estate sale. I think it's pretty rude to walk through their house with your shoes on. Yeah, we've done it, but only because, we're not being asked to not do it. And if we're just one person, it's not going to make much difference. But I think the estate sale people should protect the owner's property by putting booties on over your shoes. It only takes a second to put them on and another second to take them off. I think it's a good idea. But I don't think we should willy-nilly be walking through people's houses with our shoes off. When you go to your friend's house, like to a party or to visit, don't you normally take your shoes off? And then your friend might say, "Oh, don't worry about it." You should take them off anyway. They're just trying to be nice. It's considerate to remove your shoes when you're going into someone else's house. It's respectful, and that's what it's about. It's really just about that. But that's my list of pet peeves. Please let me know what you think, and if there are any of those that you disagree on, let me know those too, because we can talk about them again. And maybe you can convince me. I've been known to change my mind about something. Well, you're a little ridiculous on this point. Okay, make your point, and then I'll counter, and then maybe you can convince me, okay, maybe I was a little overly. Because sometimes I can be a little overly. But that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. Everybody's different. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I'm enjoying the rain here on the porch at the cabin. Shoreline the driveway. Thank you for joining me. Love you guys. Take care and have a great day.